Okay.
Open settings.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Jennifer's Open Book, where we don't believe in filters. We have a special guest with us today, Miss Krystle Allen from Eyes Like Mine Incorporated. Before we get to that, if you have not already subscribed to this channel, go ahead and hit your subscribe button, hit your like button, share this video, leave comments, let me know what you think of this video, and go check out some of my other videos and let me know what you think. If you type comments in right now, hopefully I'm able to read. I have not been able to get to my comments when we stream, but hopefully we can get to them today. If not, I apologize to you in advance. Leave your comments after we're done, and I will make sure that Krystle gets any questions that you have, and we'll make sure that they get answered for you. And I'm gonna have her leave some information once we're done if you all want to ask her questions personally, if she's okay with that. But
Yeah.
thank you guys. I want to thank you again for your support. All the love you guys have been giving to this channel. I really appreciate you all. And we are gonna have some great things coming up. I don't want to tell you what, and I don't want to say when because plans change, schedules, blah blah blah. But thank you for sticking with me, you guys. So that being said, hi Krystle.
Hi.
So I absolutely love what you do. I had a couple of conversations with you, and the first time I spoke to you, you explained to me about your organization and everything, and I thought it was so powerful. So I'm really glad that I'm able to get you on here because you are a very busy woman. I want to let you guys know that COVID did not stop this woman's show. I think that it has made her even busier. So, first, if you don't mind, can you tell everyone about your visual impairment?
Sure. Hey everyone in cyberspace. I am from Newark, New Jersey, born and raised, Brick City, y'all. And I am now 20 years into being legally blind. I began losing my eyesight at the age of 16 due to a malpractice from a dermatologist who was treating me for a skin condition I've had since I was 5, which is called eczema. And my mom's side of the family, they are from a place called Honduras in Central America. And they believed heavily on a lot of home remedies and treatments to different ailments, and holistic treatments as well. And we were doing everything we could do for my skin. And an aunt of mine introduced my grandmother to a dermatologist out of the Bed-Stuy group in New York. And his name was actually Michael Jackson. But, you know, he wasn't the real MJ. Um, and for the first time out of all of my treatments with everything my skin has been introduced to, this doctor was amazing to me because at 16, for the first time I was wearing shorts, I was confident. My skin wasn't irritable. I didn't have scaly patches or discoloration. I was feeling like I should just be the teenager that I was meant to be. And then later on in that year, it was 1 year of treatment. Later on in that end of the year, my insurance was no longer under his network, so I couldn't see him any longer. But like right after I was done with treatment, I was having headaches all day, every day. I was very fatigued. My headaches were so severe that I could not lift my head up sometimes or even turn my neck. And my eyes, from what people were telling me, they were kind of like looking like they were bulging, like they were just sitting on the brim of my eyelids. And I could not see what those people were seeing. And at that time, maybe I feel my vision loss was like really initiated itself, but I could still see a lot of things. I was still seeing without using a cane. I was still seeing without any real restrictions or noticeable restrictions. And then my grandmother, she was working for a hospital, in a town called Irvington in New Jersey. And she was very, familiar with the doctors. And she was like, you know what, we're going to have to go see what's wrong. Because I mean, I literally could not get up and go to school. And sometimes I was just vomiting clear fluid. And at first, my grandmother was like, you know what? We're going to see what's really wrong. She thought I was pregnant. And I was like,
Oh wow.
well, you got to have sex to be pregnant, right? Because I ain't the Virgin Mary. And so it was just a crazy situation. And then when I got into the specialist, this specialist, he was just a regular optometrist, and he did an examination and he just told me my eyes were inflamed, meaning swollen, and I would need prescription eyewear. He gave me some drops and he told me to come back within 2 weeks to be fitted for some eyeglasses. And I was able to get the drops filled, and prior to the 2 weeks being, over, I went back because I was not seeing any true results. And it was the same place, but there was a different optometrist who did more of a thorough examination of me. And he did the visual field test and different other tests just to see what the root of what was going on. Because he was like amazed at seeing how swollen my eyes were.
Mm.
So when he came to his, conclusion through all of the tests that I went through in that short period of time, he determined that I had a condition called pseudotumor cerebri. And I didn't know what that was. It just sounded like a very long medical term. And immediately I had to be rushed to another hospital to begin to receive more extensive treatment because pseudotumor cerebri at the age of 16 and just pseudotumor cerebri in general during that time was very rare. It was a very rare
So
condition.
can you tell us what that is?
Oh, sure. So most people who have pseudotumor cerebri in the time that I was diagnosed would have been in their late 30s, early 40s. And they would be experiencing a few different things where they were either very overweight, they had high salt intake in their diet, and they were very like overwhelmed with stress. And in my instance, I was just 143 pounds. I didn't have a high salt intake. And I didn't have any like severe stress or depression. I just had like the teenager woes or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
when it was explained to me what pseudotumor was, it was that I am symptomatic of everything a brain tumor involves. But because
Okay.
pseudo means false,
False.
it mimics the brain tumor. So what would happen is everyone has cerebral spinal fluid. Your cerebral
Mm-hmm.
spinal fluid helps to protect your healthy brain functioning. It helps with keeping your equilibrium balanced so that you can walk, run, skip, hop, whatever it is you need to do to just be stable in your day to day activities. And it has a level. And the level that is normal for cerebral spinal fluid is between 12 and 16. In my instance, sorry, my eyes. In my instance, my cerebral spinal fluid levels would rise to 38. And that's a dangerous level because it can result in a brain aneurysm or fatality if left untreated. So I was very fortunate to be diagnosed when I was and to have the treatment almost immediately once it was clear what I had. And
So
what happened? Oh,
that came from the treatment for your eczema. It triggered it, or was it already something in your system?
so I will say that because it was rare, as I mentioned, and it's not really found in a 16-year-old, um, when my specialist, I had to wind up seeing a neuro ophthalmologist for my condition. When he reviewed my prescription history, He noticed that 7 out of the 25 medications I was prescribed during my year of treatment from the dermatologist contained an ingredient called tetracycline. And tetracycline is what initiated the pseudotumor. So that would my body, although it was a year of treatment and we have 12 months, 365 days out the year, um, it was too much within one span of time. And it was from topical to oral and other treatments. And so, because it was in 7 different medications over the span of time, it acted as an overdose and it initiated the pseudotumor. And what happens with the pseudotumor is that the cerebral spinal fluid, when it's rising high, it creates a head pressure. Just like you have a headache or a migraine, that's a head pressure. And my head pressure, it what it would do was the fluid was so excessive that it would shift my brain forward and press onto my optic nerves, and that
Ah,
the weight of the fluid, the weight of my brain on the optic nerves would make my eyes bulge. And because I we all have skulls, and there was really nowhere else for my brain to shift forward to, it would shift backward onto the stem of my equilibrium. And that would interfere with my balance. Sometimes I would feel like I'm going to fall, or I couldn't walk without feeling like I needed someone to stabilize me.
like you have vertigo, you were getting dizzy and stuff too.
Well, I would get dizzy, but I would also feel like really faint.
Mm.
Like it was a really weird feeling. And then on top of that, with all of the head pressure, when I would lay down at night, it would sound like I had an ocean in my head. Like I could hear the water
Oh my
in
goodness.
my ears.
That would have
So,
been miserable.
well, it
It's
definitely wasn't a walk in the park.
it's amazing to me how so many doctors can diagnose you with so many things until you find that one doctor. I had a eye infection not too long ago,
Hmm.
and just all of a sudden my eyes started really running real bad, burning and hurting and everything. And I have keratoconus, and it causes pain from my cornea stretching, the lens on my eye stretching, so it causes pain. So I'm wondering, I'm like, okay, is that what's going on? And I went to urgent care, and they diagnosed me with conjunctivitis, pink eye,
Oh,
and they
okay.
gave me some drops. And it seemed like it was getting worse while I was using the drops. So I went to go see my regular eye doctor,
Hmm.
and they gave me some more drops, still treating me for conjunctivitis. And I went to see my cornea specialist. And when I walked in his office, he said, "Oh, you have a really bad eye infection." He was like, "Let me look at that."
Wow.
And he looked and he was like, "I think you're allergic to the medication that they're giving you for the conjunctivitis. You
Wow.
have an allergic reaction to a lot of stuff." So he had to give me a steroid, and it worked perfectly. I actually had the same problem again not too long ago, and I went as soon as my eyes started feeling like really weird. So I went back to him. I didn't go to all of the other doctors that I went to before. But
Mm.
like I actually I left out the ER. I went to like 3 different doctors before I finally decided to go to my cornea specialist. And in your case, like you could have died if you didn't go back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a scary thought. It's a blessing that they figured out what the problem was and that you're fine. But I'm glad that they figured it out, and I hate that you had to go through that. And it all started with eczema, which is
Mm-hmm.
my daughter has eczema, so I know it can be just really bad and everything.
Hmm.
But I mean, like if you look back on it sometimes, do you ever think like, I rather would have had the eczema?
Well, I can't. I used to think that way, because
Mhm.
when you lose your vision, you grieve it. You grieve what you lost. You're so uncertain. Um, Even if it's just minimal vision loss or total vision loss, it's still a loss.
It's still a loss,
And
yeah.
I wasn't totally certain. And I mean, I was ecstatic that I could feel comfortable in my skin, the way that I did because, being a child with eczema and a teenager with eczema is different than being an adult with eczema because
Yeah.
I think it's a little
It
more brutal because you have to deal with people teasing you, gawking at you, acting like you got some type of foreign specimen all over you or something when it's just something that's out of your control. And then as a child and a teenager, you're just trying to figure out life a little bit and be that child or teenager. You don't have the pressures of what adults have, but you do have some
but you
pressure.
do have pressure. Yes, you
hmm
do. So
So
I want to talk about how you turned that negative into this positive. So tell us a little bit how you started Eyes Like Mine, and I'll let everybody know what the organization is all about.
okay. Well, I'll have to start from here. One thing I want to just say real quick about pseudotumor is that it's now more prevalent in women, especially women who are on certain birth controls. Um, I wasn't on birth control when it happened to me, and really, pseudotumor can happen for different reasons, but there are more and more women who are experiencing pseudotumor, and not everyone who has pseudotumor will go blind or become legally blind. There have been some success stories where there have been women who had pseudotumor and it didn't affect their vision. And then there have been some women who have had pseudotumor and maybe they were just high partials or they had low vision. And in other instances, some women become legally blind, some women become totally blind, and some women may lose their vision instantly, and some may lose it gradually. So I'm going on 20 years, and I was told when I was diagnosed with this condition that by the time I turned 30, I would be totally blind. And it's so amazing how people's words can try to be powerful over your life.
Hmm.
And I'm here at 36 and I still have some vision. My vision ain't the best, but I have some vision. I see hand motion and light in my left eye, and out of my right eye, I see out of half of my peripheral, and it's very blurry. There are two blinking red laser dots that are always blinking in both eyes. It's like a little video game in my eyes or something. And I am not able to read small print. I can't really use a closed circuit TV anymore because over time my vision has decreased. I do use a white cane, well, a purple and gold cane now because I got it custom made. And um, I use JAWS as a screen reader, VoiceOver as a screen reader on my phone and iPad. I really love all the little gadgets and assistive technology. Uh, so over the course of time, I was trying to figure out a lot with losing my vision. I never met anyone who was blind and visually impaired before I became that way. And then maybe years later, I met my cousin. She's totally blind. She's out of South Carolina and she's so successful. She's a homeowner, a wife, she's a mother, and she has her own businesses. So I was inspired by her lifestyle and the lifestyles of other blind and visually impaired people that I met. Like, if they could do it, I can do it too. And I can be a person who can show other people the way, just as other advocates who happen to be visually impaired and blind show others who are, facing vision loss. So,
Hmm.
outside of my vision loss, I was just trying to be a young woman claiming what I know to be my life. And I've done many different things. I've traveled to Tokyo to advocate for residents with disabilities in Japan. After my vision loss, my very first abroad trip with 11 strangers, I worked as a substitute teacher in a school district, teaching in 11 public schools in one school district. And I've worked in other capacities where I've had to be the lead in teaching children and, mentoring them. And then I moved on to feeling like it got to be something more. I love helping, I love sharing, I love getting people together. And in all of those passions, I was in a relationship, and then me and the dude broke up. And I was feeling so bad because I was just like, oh my goodness, what is wrong with me? Like, I work, I go to school, I'm helpful in my community, I cook, I clean, I'm doing all these great things, I dress nice, I keep myself up. I was like questioning myself to the max. And then something just dawned on me. It was like I had an epiphany sitting on the toilet crying. And then I was like, wait a minute, what am I really doing here? I'm over here thinking about somebody who's not even thinking about me. Like, I'm wasting my precious time thinking about someone who is not even paying me no mind. And then I just picked up the phone and I called my friend and I was like, hey, you want to start a nonprofit organization? And she was like, sure. And I was like, okay. And it was just a conversation that started off with two friends. Her and I, we met each other, and we were the first to meet each other with pseudo tumor that we knew of. And we just maintained being friends. She became totally blind because of the pseudo tumor. And today she's a mom, a wife. She just had a baby back in August, her second child, and she works as well. And as we built our friendship, we built our organization. So in a sense, Eyes Like Mine Incorporated started on the toilet.
And shout out to all of our ex boyfriends. You guys helped us out. Thank you.
Right, right. Yes. So, sometimes when you think your light is blown out, it's only starting to ignite, you know?
And
And
I'm a spiritual person. People who know me, people on the channel know that I'm a spiritual person. And I
mm,
say God put people in your life for a reason, and He also takes people out of your life for a reason. And
mhm.
maybe that was what you needed. That person you were that person that you were with needed to move out of the way so that you can do something like this and be great. What you are doing is helpful to other people, and you are definitely needed. So, I want you to tell everyone some of the things that you do. I was on a call for the support group a couple weeks ago, and
Mhm.
you have the Miss Blind Diva Empowerment Pageant.
Mhm.
So talk a little bit about those things and let them know some more things that you have because you have something going on all week, every day, just about.
Yes, so Eyes Like Mine Inc. is a 501c3 tax exempt nonprofit organization. And our mission is to share awareness about the abilities and potential of individuals with vision loss through community service initiatives, comprehensive empowerment workshops, and innovative social change awareness events. And with all of that, we have been functioning 6 years strong. We have done a series of things to educate our community about vision loss, disability etiquette, and just tapping into your greatness and knowing that there is life after blindness. And some things that we've done, we've had an eyewear for eye care fashion show in our first year where we collaborated with an eyewear vendor, and we had some visually impaired and blind models model the eyewear as a way to bring attention to promoting healthy eye care, um, as well as just fashionable eyewear. You just because you're visually impaired or blind doesn't mean you need the Ray Charles glasses. You don't need those Ray Charles glasses all the time. You could
Mm.
pop on some
Girl, I
Ray
got like
Bans.
6 pairs of super cute glasses. I don't know whose name is on them, but they are cute.
Yes. And we have a few staple programs. Since COVID-19, we've been working very hard with making sure we stay connected with our visually impaired community as well as our general community so that they can know and understand what our needs are. We are people first. You know, we may have a vision impairment, and our vision impairment may be identified as a disability, but that is not what identifies us as individuals. We are people first, and we need to be addressed as people first. And some of the work that we've been doing since COVID, we have been really expanding on our virtual activities. We started with just having conference calls this year, every Sunday from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And at first, it was like a community resource call where everyone was getting together, um, ages 18 and up, with different disabilities as well as vision impairments. And we were talking about ways in which we can thrive throughout this pandemic. You know, what does it really represent in terms of thriving and having access and inclusion? And then it kind of like caterpillared into um, every Sunday. We've only missed 2 Sundays since we started back in March. And we began to start having like little phone activities where we would have some featured speakers come on who were either blindness professionals or people who have lived experience in vision loss. Speak about their journey, speak about their challenges, their achievements, their success, as a tool to encourage our listeners to reach for their goals and their ambitions. You know, I feel like you can never be too ambitious for things that you want to make happen in your life. You just got to start from somewhere. And sometimes your start might not be like right away. You know, you might have to crank it up a little bit like a old car or something like that.
Hmm.
But once it's cranked and it's moving, all you got to do is just keep going forward. You know, the only thing that can really stop you is yourself if you want to stop yourself. And the peer support groups, we've had all types of people call in, like people from Louisiana, from Chicago, Illinois, Las Vegas, California, Florida, Texas, Tennessee. And it's been people who have been sighted and people who have been visually impaired or blind and people who have been deaf blind. And everybody, you know, tries to engage with each other. They want to hear who the speakers are. We put out a newsletter frequently so that our email listserv can know who the speakers are that will be coming on and any other relevant activities that Eyes Like Mine is doing so that they can connect. Maybe the peer support group isn't for them, but our peer support group is under the umbrella of a network of support groups statewide in New Jersey through the New Jersey Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired. Their Aspire Peer Support Network houses 66 peer support groups throughout the state of New Jersey, and they're led by volunteer facilitators. And prior to the pandemic, everybody was meeting in different locations, but now, you know, in the interest of being safe, we meet virtually. So Eyes Like Mine, we choose a topic. We've had people like Marilee Talkington from the Access Acting Academy on. We've had Will Butler from Be My Eyes, the app Be My Eyes. Uh,
Hmm.
we've had Janetta Price, who is the president of the National Federation of the Blind Community Service Division
Blind
on.
girl magic.
Yes, and Blind Girl Magic co-founder. I'm sorry. So we've had a lot, and then we don't just have women on. You know, we have something for the men. As I mentioned, Will Butler, Sherlock Washington, who is a 3-time beatball player champion. He has the rings, and he also has a company called SW Unlimited that provides adaptive technology. We've had all types of people on our call who are supporters of the work of Eyes Like Mine. We've even had a call that we dedicated to the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act this past July. And the mayor of Newark, who is the mayor of the largest municipality in New Jersey, he proclaimed July 26th as our Newark's ADA Day. So every year, because of Eyes Like Mine Inc., we will be leading the ADA Recognition Day. And that was really big for us because we're just a small organization. We're volunteer based, and everything we do is about our connection, communication, and conversations with one another, and the experiences that we've had in our lives as people with vision impairments, men and women, young men and women, older men and women. We just come together and try to innovate so that we can get our voices heard and break down some barriers if we can. It might be a
Yes.
little barrier, but any barrier broken down
Any
can
barrier.
allow us to, get to the bigger barriers.
So tell them about the pageant. I'm excited about the pageant. Tell them
So
about
the pageant
the pageant.
is approaching its fourth debut. It's actually going to take place virtually for the first time ever on October 3rd, which is next week, from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And the pageant is called the Miss Blind Diva Empowerment Pageant. The name of the pageant came from a name I gave myself in college because I used to walk around in high heels and my cane and all dressed up like I was going to a party. I'm supposed to be going to class. People would be like, "Oh, they go to blind girl right there." And I didn't really like to be called the blind girl because I felt like, one, I'm a woman. And then it's like, why I gotta be the blind girl though? And
Right.
so I'm like,
Right.
like I'm a little more than just that. And so I flipped the narrative and I was like, all right, they want to call me the blind girl. They gonna call me blind diva.
I
And
know that's
so
right.
from then on, everybody around the campus, they would call me Blind Diva. They'll be like, "Hey, Blind Diva, how you doing?" Or now when even to this day, if someone sees me, they be like, "Oh, there go Blind Diva." And so I was thinking of ways in which to empower my women in the blindness community. And I figured, why not have a pageant? Like, there's so many pageants, there's so many fashion shows, but there's not one that's like actually dedicated to women with vision loss. And like, it's
Hmm.
not just a 1 day event. Like, we have recruited since March during Women's History Month um, to find the women that are participating in our pageant this year. And we do it each year around March. And then we were trying to figure out, ways in which we could really pull it off. So a lot of what we've been doing is we've been having weekly challenges that the women have to complete. They've also been having to attend uh, preparation seminars that we call the Empower Hour, and it's usually on a Wednesday. And we like to call that Women Crush Wednesday, so we can highlight our ladies who are doing great things in the blindness community and in their overall community. And as the weeks go on, next week, we will have our meet and greet on October 2nd from 7:30 p.m. until 9 p.m. And we will be streaming that from Zoom to Facebook and YouTube. So you can definitely feel free to check us out. And by checking us out, it's not just checking out what the organization is doing, it's supporting the women who are taking the time to participate. Um, on October 3rd, we'll be finding out who our ultimate title holder is. There's two titles that women who participate in our pageant can claim. One is the Miss Independent YouTube Challenge title holder, where with the application that they submit prior to starting the sessions, they have to submit a video, a YouTube video, displaying them doing the action independently. So some of our YouTube videos for our 2020 contestants include mirrorless hairstyles, um, doing some makeup, uh, baking cookies, making some chicken and pasta, an inspirational word, spoken word, powerlifting, accessible games. And it's just great that it's such a variety that we have with the pageant ladies. And all of our pageant ladies are outside of the pageant. They are pillars in their community. They're educated women. They work or they're consultants. You know, they're very independent. And I'm so grateful that these women could be a part of our pageant this year, including the women from previous years, because it's not easy organizing. It's not easy being on demand, and it's not easy trying to make sure that everyone is accommodated, but we make it happen. You know, it's a lot of
Mhm.
communication, a lot of sifting and sorting, and because we have a good heart and the drive to make these things happen, I would quote Mariah Carey's song, Make It Happen. If you believe in yourself enough and know what you want, you're going to make it happen. And it's so true. Like, we do it, you know, every day, even outside of the pageant, but within it, it's just amazing to see the start and the conclusion. So, when we are going to determine who our Miss Independent YouTube Challenge title holder is on October 2nd during the meet and greet, whoever has the most likes on their video, it counts as a vote. And whoever has the most likes will be claiming that title. She will receive a platinum sash, a studded out face mask, a really fancy looking custom t shirt, and a prize. Then on the day of the pageant, all of the ladies will be competing for the main title, which is the face of the pageant, Miss Blind Diva 2020. And that woman will receive a crystallized plaque in honor of the first African American Braille teacher in New Jersey, who is the current sitting council president, Mildred C. Crump. Um, She will receive a Swarovski crystal necklace by Touchstone Crystals, a division of Swarovski crystals. She will receive a golden sash. Um, what else is she getting? Oh, the crown, a really beautiful bejeweled crown, and,
Everybody needs a crown.
and a $1,000 cash prize.
Oh,
And
wow.
you know, this is our first time that we've had the opportunity to give a stipend such as that. You know, we're really fortunate to be able to do that. And we just look forward to continuing to empower more women to join us in 2021. All of our ladies received, as a gift for participating, they received a ring light tripod stand and a Swarovski crystal birthstone bracelet after each of their birthstones for participating, as well as some other little Chosky gifts. And for the whole month of September, if you want to support the pageant, maybe you're not available on October 2nd for the meet and greet or on October 3rd for the pageant day, you can purchase a Swarovski crystal item of your choice through Touchstone Crystals, and 20% of your purchase will be donated to the Eyes Like Mine Inc. organization in support of the Miss Blind Diva Empowerment Pageant.
So would we need to go through their website or do we go through your website in order to make that
Well,
purchase?
well, if you go on my Facebook page for Eyes Like Mine Inc., we post different described items, and there's an online catalog. Our consultant, her name is Liz. So you will have to go through Liz in order to, purchase your item and support the organization. And we would be so grateful if you would support us in that way, because next week September's over, and we
Well,
want
I'm
to.
going because Jennifer loves her shinies.
Yes, yes,
I
Jess.
love my shinies. So that is a great segue into this. Why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on social media, anywhere on the internet? Well, we need to know where to go on YouTube so that we can vote and watch the videos and everything. So go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you all over the place.
Okay, yes. So on YouTube, if you want to support our Miss Blind Diva 2020 contestants, we have a playlist with all of their videos, and you can go to our YouTube channel at Eyes Like Mine Inc. and type in Miss Blind Diva 2020 challenge in the search engine. And we are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook as at Eyes Like Mine Inc. But our peer support group has its own private group on Facebook, which is called the Peer Support Hub, a division of Eyes Like Mine Inc. We also have an audio book club group on Facebook where that you can connect with, and it's just called the Audio Book Club. Um, and then also on Facebook, we have a page just for our pageant, which is the Miss Blind Diva Empowerment Pageant page at Miss Blind Diva. Um, and then on Instagram and Twitter is at Eyes Like My Eight. We have a website, and on our website and on Facebook, you can subscribe to our newsletter. And our website is www.eyeslikeMine.org.
Also, everyone, like I said, if you have any questions that you want to ask Crystal, you can leave it in the comments and I'll make sure that she gets those questions and I'll get those answers back to you as soon as possible. Do you want to, can they leave you a message on Facebook or Instagram or anything? Do you have any?
Sure, sure.
Okay.
We can
So,
definitely.
Crystal with a K.
Yes, Krystle. Okay, guys. I'm a little unique like that.
So like I said, if you guys have any questions, get in touch with her or you can get in touch with me. Krista, I really appreciate you coming on talking to me. We could talk forever. Seriously, you have so much
Right.
going on. But I do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy, busy schedule to come and talk to me. And we're gonna get some more support for the blind divas. And like I said, I'm gonna go here and find me a bracelet because I love crystals. I like my shiny.
Yes.
So thank you guys for your support. And you guys found me here, Jennifer's Open Book. You can find me on Instagram in the same place, Jennifer's Open Book, and on Facebook under Jennifer Jennell, Jinnerfer. I'm unique too. Jinnelle. I still haven't started tweeting yet, you guys. I have a Twitter, but I don't use it. But if you guys have any questions, like I said, leave it in the comments. If you want to ask me anything, ask Crystal anything anonymously, inbox us on Facebook. Also, if you want to come on this channel and talk about anything, if you have an exciting, interesting life that you want to talk about, whether you are blind, visually impaired, or not, you can be any and everybody. I welcome you all because this is not all about blind people, it's about bridging the gap. We want you to know that we are human and we want to see the humanity in you as well. We like motivational stories. So if you want to come on and talk to me, go ahead and let me know in the comments or inbox me, and we will get you on here. So that being said, Crystal, do you have anything else you want to say to the people?
I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me and thinking of Eyes Like Mine Inc. to allow me to share the message of the organization. And for the fellas, Like I said, we don't just have things for women. We have Dancing with the Blind coming up on October 17th. It's our information session. And we're going to be doing an annual resource fair that will be virtual October 28th and 29th. And then something for the whole family. We're having a Halloween Boo-Czar audiobook listening session where we will have a haunted mask costume contest, a dance contest virtually, and a trivia contest in between a listening session of R.L. Stein's Goosebumps Haunted Mask 2 on Halloween Day from 5 p.m. until 8 p.m. So we got a lot going on during
A
Blindness
lot.
Awareness Month. But it's something for everybody. So don't feel afraid. You know you need to join us. You know you want to be with us. Okay? And one thing, don't allow your doubts to be bigger than your dreams. Try to catch them all and do as many of them as you can.
That is good, great advice. I'm gonna have to have you back on here. you
Anytime.
I'm gonna have to have you
Anytime.
back on here. So thank you, Crystal, again, and thank you guys for joining us. Until next time, I love you. Bye.
Bye.
Hold on, Crystal.
Mm-hmm.